And here we begin, podcast episode 14, the Samurai Jack podcast.
Woohoo! Oh my god. It's about time that we basically just commandeered an entire podcast for the sake of Samurai Jack.
I mean, ever since Westworld ended, that's more or less what we've been doing anyway.
Oh god, yes, of course, because that's basically what happened during Westworld, was we commandeered the podcast to talk about that every new week.
What the hell are we going to do after next week? I have no idea. I got to roll into Red versus Blue again, and we'll do a week by week.
You really should, because I can lend you the details for my first account so that you can watch them.
Oh no, I got a first account. We're all good.
Oh, do you have a first account?
I do. Yes, I got it originally when Achievement Hunter launched their podcast, Off Topic, because I was so mad that Jeff wasn't on podcasts anymore. And then also Michael is gold on podcasting. So those two together, I'm like, all right, I got to sign up for this shit. So
I never liked Michael on the podcast.
Yeah, it's a strange connection for me because him talking on the podcast is what led me to watch My Little Pony. So it's this weird sort of, kind of fates thing.
I suppose, I do have the biggest man boner for Bernie though, so that's like whenever I watch the podcast, it's basically just scroll through. Is Bernie in this one? No. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna skip this one.
Oh yeah. See, I'm the opposite, but with Chris. Whenever Chris is on a podcast, it's like instant cancer. I can't listen to it. It's like he brings it down so hard.
The usual podcast crew is my favorite, where it's Babs,
Bernie, Gavin, and Gus.
That's right. They are fantastic. They all work very fantastically with each other.
No, they really are like the perfect combo. For me, it's like, now that they're like, 50 episodes in too, Off Topic, my perfect combo is Michael, Jeff, Ryan, and Jack. Because Jack is so ornery that when they like pick on him, it's pretty funny. So.
Oh yeah. Jack can be really, really great. But yeah, we absolutely have to start doing Red versus Blue because, I mean, God, what they're doing with the series right now really is fantastic. The new writer is such a fucking troll. I mean, the way he writes it feels like Blood Gulch Chronicles.
Okay.
It's written very much in the vein of those first 5 seasons. Like, he'll build something up for you and then he will flip the tables and troll the fuck out of us.
Yeah, no, what I'll do is, now that I'm mid-move for everyone out there in post-apocalyptia, when I have that downtime for a few weeks, I'll try to catch up as much as I can. So, yeah, and then we could sort of roll into that.
Although I suppose the other thing we should every week, since this did basically start off as a My Little Pony channel, we should probably also talk about the show.
I agree.
That
I gotta catch up on that too.
Because oh my god, the new writing. I think none of the old writers are left, except I think like 1 or 2 of the old writers are still on the team. But the new writing team they have is much, much stronger. They're far. The humor and the writing style is more in line with Gravity Falls, Adventure Time, Rick and Morty style comedy. It's a lot faster, a lot more absurd.
At least based on the DWK Totally Awesome recaps, they sound fun. So no, I do have to go back and catch up on those too.
Yeah, like the original My Little Pony seasons, they were great because they felt like a blast from the past. They were written in the same style as our childhood shows were.
Yeah.
But children's cartoons have evolved since then. They are faster, they are sharper, they rely a lot more on subverting expectations, and they are a little bit cruder in some aspects, but I think the writing has improved.
What it is I think Season 3 and 4 really were like a valley, where it's like Lauren Faust left and they like ran out of her initial creative energy, and then 3 and 4 were like sort of awkward like preteen years until it's finally matured into the show it's become.
Exactly. I think this new season we're in is the strongest one yet.
Oh wow.
solidly been. Oh yeah, it's.
I gotta say,
I
putting
love
Shimmy
every
or
episode.
Glimmy and Maud in an episode, that sounds like a great combination.
Oh yeah, that was really, really smart. Oh, we have a question in our chat.
We do.
What's the weirdest idea you've had for a stable that you had to ditch? That actually, yes, we have hit so many of those, especially in Terminal Secrets, because it is the case of, Vault-Tec, they were assholes for the sake of being assholes
Hell
most
yeah.
of the time. So, I mean, we had one stable. So, Terminal Secrets Episode 4, originally, that stable's experiment was going to take place on the moon. And we had run through, the writer and I, Daniel Mohan, we ran through a bunch of ideas on how we were going to have that work, Is it an accident that they ended up on the moon, or did Stable-Tech just stick them up there because they were dicks?
We would have had to put the Moonbase Alpha music in there somewhere.
I'd say that is the stable that I miss the most, that I wish we had been able to put in, but we just couldn't find a spot where it would make sense. Is that, I mean, you can even see it in the new Terminal Secrets artwork in Episode 3. You can see the surface of the moon there. So that is, to answer your question, that is the weirdest idea we've had for a stable.
I had a stable idea that I think it's basically fully rejected, or like I'm passing up on it now. So I was going to do like a North Korea stable kind of thing, where we have this like family hierarchy, and that it's just like, everyone's totally oppressed, but like it's gonna be like thrown off. Like one of the kids wants to sort of change things, and so then it like tries to kill him with like an aircraft gun or something. I don't know. It wasn't a fully thought out idea, but I was like, we already had starving populations, so it's just like, I just dropped that.
And going back onto what we were just saying earlier, just to bring us back to the topic, when we were talking about, how cartoons and so on have found a way to improve on what they used to be, I think nothing is an example of that more than Samurai fucking Jack.
This season has been so perfectly executed. I mean, it really is like he's taken the 10 years of time to craft this final jewel to wrap up the series, because I've been nothing but happy with it, in my opinion.
It has been, they have not had a single misstep. They have not made a single error in what they've created here. It really is. It manages to keep what was great from the original show, but it's given it a maturity and attention that that is far more present in modern cartoons, and that people like us are more likely to have. God, I love the new armor design from the original episodes.
Right?
Skybolt is now showing on the screen.
Yeah, no, I've got a whole backlog of pictures now. So, I mean, this is a little pro tip for everyone out there, too. If you haven't heard it yet, like a year ago at Comic-Con or something, Jendi did his own, like, live reading of that opening segment with the emoji aliens, and it is the funniest shit ever. It's like a 7-minute scene, and he's like, and then Jack, he's on the motorcycle, and it pops out these, like, big-ass spikes, and he's just, like, he's reading it like we would read a script back and forth to each other. It's like, yeah, and then there's, the blue, like, the dog alien chicks, and he, like, drives by them. You have to look that up if you're out there. But, yeah, I mean, it was just this immediate, like, upgrade of the violence. Like, you knew, he's like, as soon as he knew that he was going to be putting it on Adult Swim, he's like, okay, we can do some more fun stuff with this.
But I love the fact that I think we've mentioned this in a previous podcast, or we mentioned it in a different conversation about the show, that Kendi still wanted the you still should be able to watch it with your family. I still watch the show with my brother. Yes, it's on Adult Swim, but it's still something that children can watch, despite the naked waifus.
Just the right amount of naked waifus.
And naked husbandos.
That's right. No, they both got an eyeful of each other. So in case you guys hadn't noticed, that most of this podcast is essentially
Skybolt and I dissecting Samurai Jack with our expert eyes.
That is literally the whole point of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the first episode, so a great way, you know, obviously for anyone out there, if you're like a writer type, you want to have a strong opening. You want to have something that like really establishes tone and like situational setup. It doesn't always have to be perfect as far as like where it goes into the story. Like it wasn't a direct thing, but it's like it set up the action, it set up the tone, the classic of Samurai Jack of protecting the innocent from random robots and crap. It was just so cool, and I wish he had left. I wish he had the armor and bike a bit longer, to be honest.
Oh god, I do kind of miss the bike a little, but it is the importance of having a strong opening. Really, really, you can see it in our own productions all across EAST Corp. All of our first episodes have that sort of mentality to it. You know, DJ Pony's opening monologue to the first confessions. There's one. I've been working really, really hard on Untypical's opening scene. I think there are 7 different versions of that opening scene.
Nice.
Just trying to find the perfect one, because setting up your tone is that important.
No, I know what you mean.
You lose your audience in that first scene if you don't get it right. Gendy nailed it. He and his team really did. And
well, the cool thing about Gendy, too, is the fact that he's the artist as well. So he writes through storyboarding, which is why the show is executed so well as far as pacing, because he leads the pacing and the writing from the same, you know, it's all the same person, which can get complicated for productions, but if you can do it, it usually works out so much better.
Absolutely. I love the fact that he writes through storyboarding. Normally, I'm very against that sort of method. I'm quite a purist when it comes to writing, but you can't argue with the results here in Samurai Jack. You really can't argue with the results. It's beyond most cartoons that are out these days.
Plus, I mean, it always had a cinematic feel anyway, like even from the originals, between the pacing, you know, the adultness of the storyline, you know, having a big overarching narrative, and the, you know, the whatchamacallit, changing the aspect ratios and stuff. It was really like, I mean, this whole season is basically like one big movie to finish it off. And I think that's more than we could have asked for, you know, 2 years ago.
I mean, we really are. We have been spoiled with this. But it is sort of nice to see that that it's possible to surprise us. You know, we tend to get so very cynical because we get such good TV now. So it's a case of, oh, well, you know, these 3-dimensional characters weren't. You know, we want 4-dimensional characters, you know? We want these characters to be even more developed. Why are you developing this character in the wrong direction? Whereas 10 years ago, it was a case of, I would love some character development, just a little bit, just a smidge. Every episode, even in Samurai Jack, you know, everything was a self-contained little bubble. But now you have shows like, you know, Rick and Morty, Gravity Falls, the new Samurai Jack, where everything picks up after itself. There's no more bubbles.
It really is a golden age of television. It's like really all of the creative energy has flowed out of movies and into television or serialized stories like, you know, Netflix shows or like Hulu shows and stuff like that.
Exactly. The ability to do that is really... Because we want to see our characters learn. We want to see our characters grow. I saw a very fantastic video essay on the importance of Logan to superhero movies, and then sort of because it was about that, it was about taking characters out of their bubble and having them learn and grow. Whereas things like if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where, you know, at the end of the character will have his arc through the movie, but but when it comes to the next movie, that character's arc hasn't really happened. It's changed.
I loved Logan. That was, yeah.
Logan was a breath of fresh air. But things like one of the things I hated about Civil War, and I liked Civil War, was that there was no consequence to the end of it. Captain America and Iron Man, they make up, they're friends by the end of it, as opposed to so the Marvel Cinematic Universe's next film can still feel friendly and the same, as opposed to ending it on a more risky note. Things like the end of Iron Man 3. Tony Stark blows up all of his suits and there's a big change into who he is, but then at the beginning of Avengers 2, he's got all his suits back and that character development isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
They could have had him step into more of an advisory role or something, but it's things like what they're doing now with Samurai Jack and what they did with Logan, of having long-lasting consequences to every single action.
I thought what Logan did especially well was the even though I'm upset about it, was the ending and like the wrap up of the storylines and the power of that arc, of that emotional, like he experienced family for like that brief amount of time, and then it's like a snapshot in his otherwise massively long life, 200 years of living, and he finally had a really solid like finale of emotion. But I'm also upset because now I want a whole damn movie of him and his little X-23 adorable daughter, and I just want like a power, daddy-daughter, like almost, whatchamacallit, like freaking, Kick-Ass, that pairing. That would have been so cute, oh my gosh.
Alright, so I just know, so I have, clearly my life has reached its pinnacle. I made a post on Reddit and it got like 8,000 upvotes. It's like, I think it's clearly the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. I should just kill myself now. Yeah, I went on to our gaming, and so my dad a while ago made no, not a while ago, like a few days ago, started wanting to play a PS3 game, and he'd asked me, could you recommend something? So I gave him Red Dead Redemption, and I took a picture of him playing it, and I stuck it up on Reddit, and it started doing very well at first, but then the comment section, as you would expect, turned into a cancerous mud pile.
Oh, really?
Oh God, yes, there were some really pissed off people there. They didn't like the shot because I'd taken a really bad picture of my phone, and there were the people who hated Red Dead Redemption, and there were people who hated the way I structured my post and like the title. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, no, the internet can be very unforgiving. That's why I like to operate within the shit posting domains, because you have a little bit more giveaway as far as like layers of irony. I'm behind 7 layers of irony. Yeah, no,
That's
sorry, where were we?
We were talking about Samurai Jack.
We were, yeah, we should probably go back to that. So, yeah. Okay, that's the other great thing about the entire arc of Season 5, of this final series, is how dark things opened up in terms of really establishing where he's at after 50 years of just wandering around. I mean, we can sort of relate too, which was very clever of him, because it's felt like an eternity since the show was on originally. So I thought that was very well executed.
Exactly. I mean, God, I loved how the choice to go 50 years in the future. It feels like that was the only choice they could have made. If they'd picked it up right where it left off, it wouldn't have been nearly as strong. Because once again, as I've stressed before, and as I'm going to stress again and again and again throughout this podcast, it gives you more of that consequence. The consequence of the portals being destroyed, the consequence of everything that Jack has done and that everything Aku has inflicted on him and that leading him to being so dark and insane. You've forgotten your purpose.
I think the portals being
Beautifully
destroyed is
overacted
significant
moment.
too. Well, we can go into our theories about we should probably cover the rest of the season first, but I have a theory going forward about what the ending will be like because of that. And so then the Daughters of Aku. It's like as soon as the first episode opened and we're setting up these characters, and then obviously the one Ashi right away, you're like, okay, obviously she's gonna be significant, and that's a big deal. And the other thing too is that I thought it was just a clever way of bringing like a new variation into things, that you've got this like very dedicated human cult, and so that also changed things up for him. He's not fighting robots being controlled by Aku shadow blood anymore. These are real, like, bleeding, living creatures.
Exactly. We should talk about the before. I want to take a step back from episode 2 because we do need to talk about episode 1 having introduced us to the best character in the entirety of Samurai Jack, Scaramouche, baby.
I know, babe.
I swear to God, every time this guy is on screen, he cracks me up. He is one of the funniest characters I've seen on screen in years.
He really added a whole new dimension to the season. That was perfectly needed, having that sort of pseudo-silly, villainous side character, which was always a hallmark of Samurai Jack episodes. And yeah, it was just so well done. It's just such a crazy guy.
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when that was being pitched. Hey, why don't we have a metrosexual scat jazz robot?
Right. And even better, as soon as episode 1 ended and I saw the head land, I'm like, he's not dead. A fully working, undamaged head. I'm like, he's not dead.
I fucking lost my shit in today's episode when I saw him with the octopus legs.
Right.
I was like, this guy is so determined. And freaking his dance with Aku midway through the episode was so funny.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like he gets his body restored and then immediately at the end of the episode. Oh, by the way, spoilers for anyone that hasn't figured that out. We're going to be discussing episode C, 100.
I love the fact that you've got... one of the things I was so concerned about was how they were going to handle Aku this season. Because we had Jack's storyline has been played very serious and very dark. And I was concerned that we were going to get... that Aku was also going to be played like really, really dark. So I'm glad that it surprised the fuck out of me when we got into him in that second episode, and he was just full comedy, just ridiculous as hell.
That was really great too, because it shows that Aku is also like, he's experiencing the ennui of, oh, that stupid samurai is still out there. All he did was grow that stupid beard. We're going to be with him forever.
I love him with his psychiatrist therapist who's like, the samurai. No, we do not say his name. This is a safe place. Like, I thought he would. Why won't he just die? At first, I was very uncertain about the guy that they'd gotten to voice Aku, but he has done a terrific job. Absolutely phenomenal job taking over the role of Aku.
I mean, I know it's sad, but I think people would have hated it more if Aku were just silent or not really a presence at all. It wouldn't have felt the same. It's like, Legend of Korra did it, and it might be the same guy too, but I thought he was fine in there. I don't know. So
yeah. I mean, the guy who they had in Legend, I'm not sure if it's the same guy, because you can kind of tell in Samurai Jack that it's not Mako, but in Iroh, for Iroh in Legend of Korra, I could not tell at all. It was spot on. Maybe it could just be the way the characters are performed, maybe because Aku is just so over the top.
He was, yeah. He was always that sillier, like almost, shogun-y,
Oh, God.
Japanese sounding.
And I like the fact that, once again, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during that meeting. Okay, we have a darker, far more serious storyline at play here. How should we handle Aku? Make him even more cartoony.
Yeah, he's just depressed. I loved that.
And even in this episode, he was just so fantastic. You've got Jack, trying to make his desperate plea to Ashi and Aku. Boring.
He's got the little speaker outside of his temple house, whatever. It's just like, I am not receiving visitors. Go away.
Like, what an absolutely fantastic villain. He really, really does need to go down on just the best cartoon villains that I've ever seen. He is too good. So going back into that second episode, that had so many strengths to it, giving us our first real, like, artsy fight sequence in the dark cave, the way they lit the characters and the scene with the fireflies, and of course the music. Oh God, the music of that episode.
Yeah, that entire scene was just a whole nother level of yeah, I mean, it was just so well executed. I mean, how cinematic and big it felt. It's like, I want a soundtrack so bad when this is over with.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I mean, so far it's had those two standout songs at the end of episode 2, and then of course, everybody loves somebody.
Oh yeah, no, the score has been quality though, I think, and yeah, that episode altogether was just, I mean, it hammered the impact of his internal dialogue with himself about, like, why would you do this anymore? Just give up. Just Sudoku, seppuku yourself, and it's just haunted.
Just the fact that the fact that they gave us that suicidal Jack. It's interesting that those first 3 episodes were so just unrelentingly dark and depressing, and the show has definitely become much lighter now, especially these last 2 or 3 episodes. They've been even the episode where we basically saw Jack drop to the point of it's time to commit suicide. Even then, it was still so much lighter in tone than those first 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, because he had the light. He had basically, awakened the goodness within Ashi, and then she did the same to him. It's this beautiful payoff in having saved each other, and it's like, God, if she dies at the end, I'm gonna be so mad.
I kind of feel like that, like he's like Gendy is going to pull a J.K. Rowling, and he's going to kill both of them off.
Oh, that could be fun. And they reawaken in like the afterlife and all the ancestors.
Yeah. Because Jack can never go back to the past. All the portals are destroyed.
See, yes, that is okay. Should we just go to ending predictions and then circle back?
Let's go to before we go there, I do have to say, how fantastic was it seeing the Guardians' broken glasses?
Okay, yeah, I was in a group and people were really wanting a big Guardian like fight scene or whatever, and I'm like, we don't have the time for any of that. It's not gonna be a big deal. It's just gonna be what we saw, a quickie little reference.
Yeah, and I loved Jack's moment of sadness at it though. Like there's still that he respected the one character across the whole series who was properly able to beat Jack.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of sad to, it also helps reinforce again how dangerous of a villain Aku really can be, that Aku was able to kill the Guardian when even Jack couldn't beat the Guardian.
Yeah.
So now let's go into our ending predictions. Woo!
Okay, so obviously we'll wrap up the this last scene for everyone who's basically seen it by now or not. Too bad. I'm sorry. So, where's my picture? I had there we go. Okay, so now we're at like the lowest point where he's been faced with, okay, Aku's fully corrupted her, and she's just this shadow of herself, this horrible, distortion of the Aku evil inside her, because he's her daddy.
Brilliantly. Oh god, her design was spectacular in this sequence.
And
I love evil Ashi.
oh yeah, and I mean, it's just it was finally that decision for Jack. Just like that one little reflection moment earlier in the episode where he's like, "I don't know, it's never been like this before," or like, it's dangerous, and he tries to get away because he knows that everyone he gets close to dies, and he's just like, he can't do it anymore. It's been too many, and it's like finally faced with this sword and her, he's like, I cannot do it. And it's sad because it's just like what we referenced earlier. She was the only thing that saved him from not killing himself earlier. And so he can't just kill her and move on. It's like she's the only reason he's alive at all.
Exactly. And that's kind of where the episode leaves us on that fantastic still frame, which also just, God, the show and its ability to frame a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Their framing is
every frame of painting.
Exactly. I love that channel.
So this is my theory, because I'm operating off the idea that it's only another 22-minute episode. I don't believe they've said anything about it being double length or anything, so I think it's only 22 minutes, which means it's got to have a certain structure, so we pay everything off, but it all fits in. So my theory is it'll open up and we'll have, the flashes of, catching everyone up to where we are now. Aku's going to gloat or do some kind of like, little bit about, oh, it's been all these years, samurai, and here you've fallen from a woman, and my daughter, it's just total gloating Aku. And then he gives her the sword because, him using the sword looks awkward and stupid anyway. So he's going to hand it to her and tell her, all right, my daughter, you kill him. She is the one who brought you down. And she will hold it over him, just about totally just chop his head off, just like classic seppuku. And she'll pause and hesitate. And there'll be that, like, maybe vibration in the handle. And it's just like that episode way back in season 3 where Aku was like a virus infecting Jack, and he had to finally break him from the inside to take over control. And she'll have a moment like that where maybe it'll pull away, and she'll turn, and instead of cutting him, she slices Aku and, like, hurts him a little bit. And Jack's surprised, and then everyone's surprised, and maybe that moment of triumph like is enough to where like the sword does some bullshit about like shining light and all the fog starts melting off of her for that moment, and then Jack will grab the sword and take advantage of the confusion and finally nail it in Aku, who's otherwise so, slimy, and he just keeps slipping away from the sword, but it's in that moment of confusion that Jack would finally take control. And I think after that, then they have a final little dialogue about like, I finally defeated you, blah, 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 and he dies. And all the shadows will melt away. We'll have a supercut all around the universe or planet, whatever, and all the, like, robots stop working, and everything just dissolves, and Aku's dead, or, for the most part. And then we go back to Jack and Ashi, and they, like, collapse into each other's arms, and she's like, what do we do now? And he's like, I don't know. All the time portals are gone. So it's like, I mean, how the hell do you go back? Aku's dead. It's not like he can create anymore. So yeah, the time portals are gone. And then at that moment, Ghost Scotsman shows up with his thick Scottish lasses. And they like, oh, you did it, they carry them out of there like an impromptu parade, like, each daughter just hefts one of them on their shoulders and they're next to each other. And then as they're like marching away in that like impromptu parade, then they look out over the distance, and he had that line about like how he misses seeing the long shadows of the mountains over their valley. And because it was like sunrise when they were getting up and all this started, he'll see a sunrise cast a bunch of shadows over some mountains, and with Haku gone, everything will have this nice green glow or whatever, and he'll turn back to Ashi and be like, maybe, or he'll have some, Asian wisdom thing about, like, you can't walk through the same river twice, and he'll, like, look down at the Scotsman and her and everyone he's helped, and he's like, you can't undo the things, the goodness that is in this world. That would be just as terrible. And, be like, basically like, the future is what matters. And they have their big final kiss. And then we have like a super cut of them going, like in the future and like rebuilding and meeting up with all the old friends again. And then it'd be great to have a final segment of them having a son and him in his emperor's looking garb, and then a bunch of parallels to him and his parents and everything. And then the show ends. I think that would be great.
I think that'd be a pretty solid opening. Closing. Skybolt's ending is far more happy than mine.
I know. I'm a sap, freaking sap.
The way I kind of see it going is that we're going to get is new episode's going to open and it's going to be a time skip. Not long, like maybe a week or so, but so you've got Jack imprisoned, Aku just making a fool of him because in the most hilarious fucking ways. Like Aku just going through a week-long gloating spree.
That would make sense. He would keep him alive just to torment him now that he's got the sword.
Yeah. Like, and even like the weirdest shit, like Aku reading, like, making Jack listen to him singing, songs about how he defeated Jack. Like, oh, samurai, I defeated your samurai. I defeated your samurai. Hey, samurai, did you hear about the time that I defeated you?
Yeah, and since he's like basically immortal now too, Jack is, he's like, oh, we can do this forever.
Exactly. So what then happens is the Scotsman, Ghost Scotsman, and his lasses, they arrive and they charge Aku, and he's like, and they all get into a bit of a fight, and Aku, obviously, he very quickly starts to overwhelm them because he's fuck powerful, until suddenly more people start showing up. Like all the people from, I think it was episode 6 or 7, where Ashi was meeting all of the people Jack had met. Like they all start pitching up, and all the old villains that Jack had beaten start pitching up. And now it's a case of you've got everyone that Jack has encountered and touched have now arrived. You've even got the samurai. He's got his disco gear on again. And they are all there to stand up to Aku. And they're there to stand up to Ashi. And eventually, you have a little fight, and they're able to sort of sway or convince Ashi. They're able to break that spell inside of her. And so she takes Jack's sword and she sacrifices herself to rid herself of that pain and torment, freeing herself and wounding some of the power within Aku, and freeing Jack. And then Jack gets the sword and he fights the fuck out of Aku, with Ashi, dying nearby. Then, heroically, after a badass fight, Jack defeats Aku, but Jack himself is also mortally wounded. But it's not over yet, because as he's wounded lying there, he sees that Aku's remains have formed a new time portal.
Oh.
And Jack now Jack now stares at it. He now has the thing that he wants, that he has always wanted. He can go back into the past, but then he looks around. He sees the faces of all of these people, the heroes, the villains, the good and the bad, that came to help him and all these people that he's touched, and very much like what Skybolt said. He said, I can't undo this world. I won't destroy this world and take away your lives and who you are. And so instead he swings the sword and destroys the time portal before finally succumbing to his wounds. And then we see, like, once again, similar to Skybolt, you've got this supercut of the world is rebuilding, and the world is, well, so not quite exactly what Skybolt said. So you've got another sort of montage. You see the world rebuilding, but you see like the spirits of Jack and Ashi, and I guess the Scotsman too, for some comedy there, as they watch the world as they watch the world being rebuilt, and we get to revisit some of the old places from the series. You've got the space dogs and so on, rebuilding the world. And finally, when the world is at peace, Jack and Ashi ascend with the Scotsman to their ancestors, and Jack can he meets his mother and his father there, and they finally he's accepted as a hero.
Yeah,
with Ashi. She's dead there with him too.
Yeah, she's there, and it's like that. And then the Scotsman so they have like an afterlife wedding. That would be hilarious. A bunch of
yes, that would be.
A bunch of like fantastic. Imperial Japan, like all nice, and then randomly Scotsman.
I love. It's like you've got the Japanese people who they're like, they're all very formal, they're very calm, and then you've got Jack's parents, and the Scotsman jumps in between them and hugs them both. Hey laddies, and does this just make you so sad? And he shakes them around, and they're like, oh, what is this? What did our son do?
You brought a friend?
That's how I see. That is how I see that. That's how I see that going. They both die, but it's in a. It's still a happy ending. It's still a very happy ending.
No, I like it. That's why I wanted to get our theories out there too, so we could play a little game of how close are we to the Gendi, psychology.
Right. I feel that Jack has to die because we're both in agreement that he can't go back into the past.
Yeah, no, I don't think
everyone is sort of. He won't go back into the past. But here's my reason why he has to die is that why he and Ashi both have to die. Ashi is now succumbed to this evil, and Jack is immortal. He will live forever. So chances are he will outgrow Ashi, or he will continue to just sort of exist in this world without ever being able to see his family again or die. That'll be a miserable life for him, I think. So I think dying in combat will be his sort of...
the honorable way to go.
Yeah, and that's also, that he is a samurai. Death in battle is glorious for them.
No, it's gonna be interesting. Oh God, I think it'll be a good payoff no matter what, because I feel like every episode this season has been strong and well executed. So I have no doubt whatever they end up doing is gonna feel right. It's gonna be a proper ending.
Yeah, which is impressive because an ending is hard, especially an ending to a show as long and venerable and legendary as this one.
Yeah, it really is like one of the hallmarks of Cartoon Network. Like it's like Avatar was for Nickelodeon, where it was like a real standout, big world building kind of like. It's not just a cartoon sitcom. And that's one thing that's always bothered me about cartoons. Even since I was a kid, I'm like, I don't want just a monster of the week, like, situation comedy. I like the big narrative. That's what I liked about Pokemon, was the journey, was the, him working toward the Indigo League, and then, of course, never obtaining it, which is what kind of burned me off Pokemon. But it was just, like, the journey. It was so damn stupid. It's like, after Johto, when he lost the Johto League also, I'm like, okay, nope, he's never gonna win. Fuck this.
Yeah, no, you're right. Having that journey is so ridiculously important to what you do. You can't. So many cartoons do that, and it does bug me. That's why that's why things like Gravity Falls, Adventure Time. Well, less than Gravity Falls because it still has a very Monster of the Week feel to me. But the way the characters grow, it feels like there's an overarching narrative. Even Rick and Morty has that with the characters grow, even if it's still a situation of the week.
No, you don't understand it, Morty. It's all about the Szechuan sauce. I did all this for the Szechuan sauce, Morty.
That was funny. Dear God in heaven. That was so dark, but so goddamn funny that I have no problem believing that Rick did all of that for the sauce.
He took down the government, and he had to remove the dad from being part of the family. And he's like, all of that just for the sauce. It doesn't matter.
I love the fact that you've got like depressing season 2 ending, season 3 ending. Nah. But you thought we were gonna be introspective? You thought we were gonna be sad and funny? This isn't BoJack Horseman, motherfuckers. This is Rick and Morty.
I love too how he brings down the government by just like changing the value of their money. It's like it's so perfect. It's like, wait, who's gonna pay me to enforce the government?
Well, it's absolutely true. That is how you fuck the government.
Yeah. That was actually, this is a little historical fun fact for people. There was a Nazi plan. They were, when the conventional bombing of Britain wasn't quite working, they got a guy to steal some, like all the pound notes, and I think he might have even gotten like one of the plates for their press or mint, and they created a bunch of counterfeit British currency that they were then going to bomb the cities with fake money and completely devalue their currency out of the market. They said that it was some of the best like counterfeits of the era. This is before scanners or like, machines or anything like that. It's barely before radar. And yeah, I mean, that was actually a very clever idea of just like devaluing everything, their entire monetary system all at once. And they say that bomber went down in like a lake, or there might have been sabotage, like, one of the good guys who was like fighting internally. And they said, yeah, if they ever found that sometime, that would be crazy. That'd be cool to see.
That would actually be a really, really cool story to do maybe for a full-on Equestria story. Or maybe I might steal that for an episode of Untypical. That would make for a fantastic story.
We could, soon enough, we'll be able to talk about Dunkirk, that I think's going to be a great movie.
It's interesting. Dunkirk, I mean, it looks, I'm excited for it, but it does not look like a typical Nolan film.
I agree with that.
It looks like more like, I don't know, it looks, let's say more Scorsese crossed with Michael Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I trust Nolan.
Sorry, go
trust
ahead.
him. No, that was it. I was just going to say I trust Nolan to do this right, but I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, the problem too being that this is the first like really like non-fictional movie he's done. Dunkirk, it is a good story, but it's also like there's no happy ending. It's like for those that don't know, Dunkirk is the beach of France. I think it's in Brittany, which is that very heavily British historical influence area of France. And they were pulling out. It was basically like Hitler marched into Paris, or, the Blitzkrieg, and the Vichy France, they immediately folded over because they rung up the white flag. And it's like, oh, fuck. And they started sinking their navy and everything, which is kind of sad. But yeah, and so the British are like, okay, fuck. They gave up. We got to get the hell out of here, back to the island. And so, yeah, they're all stuck on the beach at Dunkirk, basically waiting for their exit. They're waiting for the boats and planes. And part of the problem is, even though they have some people, holding the line, protecting them at the beach, you've got all the, is it Stukas? I think that was the plane. All the planes just, like, starting bombing campaigns of the beach. And so you've got all of them on this bottleneck. And so, yeah, then the story is about how all these average, like, fishermen and everything, they cross the channel, which is only, like, 50 nautical miles, like 70 kilometers, to bring their boys home.
Yes, now I remember what Dunkirk was. It was stuck in my head, and I couldn't remember. I remember learning something about it. Now I remember. Yes.
Yeah.
Fishermen coming and fetching the soldiers. God, see, this is one of the most fantastic things. When you get older and you start to realize that everything that you and I write in fiction, how humanity and how real life can often be even more amazing than the shit we could come up with in our wildest dreams.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the American Revolution basically plays out like someone wrote it.
Well, yeah, that's the crazy thing too, is in terms of, the discovery of the New World drastically changed all of history in terms of, like, all of the European wars after 1500 were because of the New World in one way or another. Like, the scramble for Africa is because in America, they basically set up the Monroe Doctrine, which is stay on your fucking hemisphere. It's like we finally built up our navy big enough to be dominant enough. And so it was basically, yeah, that was this is our hemisphere, go the fuck away. And, well, I mean, the fact that we wouldn't have won the revolution if it weren't for France, which was great. And it's why I have a special affinity for France in that way. And it's just like, they gave us money, but because of that, they basically bankrupted their own government, which led to the French Revolution, which led to Napoleon, which led to so many different things of world history because of that. So it's like, it's really crazy. You trace these threads. Like, that's why I love that alternate history hub channel. We're thinking about, like, how could one little thing have changed so much, but it really compounds. It's like the butterfly effect.
Exactly. I mean, it really is impressive to follow those little trails. But even like the small, isolated little stories.
Like Mad Jack Churchill marching through the freaking European campaign with a fucking sword.
Oh God, yes. Or one of the ones I really loved was Shaka Zulu, who led his army, and this was around, because this was in KwaZulu-Natal by where Port Shepstone is now. I was there a few months ago, like a few weeks ago, and he marched his army, and he stood on a rock, and he divided his army in two, and points to his right and said, and sends his one half of his army down to go conquer one side of the land, points to his left, points and tells the other half of his army to go conquer that side. One side succeeds, the side that conquered the north. The side that conquered the south failed and retreated. So he gets the side that conquered the north, slaughters the entire side of his army that failed to conquer the south, takes the remaining soldiers, and then proceeds to go and conquer the south. Like that is fantastic. Like Fate is a better writer than you or I ever will be.
Oh yeah, no, it really is crazy, and that's why, I mean, you look at all of fiction too, and it's like a lot of those stories are heavily inspired by just real life events that are so insane. I mean, most of the famous serial killer movies are all based on one guy, this nutcase named Ed Gein, who was the psycho. He was what was it? Like a bunch of famous movie villains were based off of him.
Oh yes, of course, yeah. So I mean, everything is, the best way to write a story is to rip off history. I mean, that's what all of Skybolt's released episodes of Terminal Secrets have had really big influences off of history, which you see in his. If you go onto his channel, you see he uploads his behind the scenes videos on Terminal Secrets for that, and it really is. I go and I pull from history and real life too, for the experiments, for untypical, for behind the scenes, for fucking everything. There are so many fantastic little bits and pieces that you can see there in real human history that, like, Dunkirk is one of my absolute favorites now that I'm remembering it.
Well, you know what else it is? I mean, still covering World War II, frickin' Sir Ian Fleming. It's like, yeah, he's writing these Bond stories, which are cool and stuff. If you look at his actual life, it's like, holy hell, he did so much in the war and before and after that, like, it's like his life was much more interesting than the stories he actually wrote. So,
Oh God. Yes, of course. I. Sorry, my mind's all over the place.
I was gonna say, should
today.
we cover some questions from the chat while we're in like a transition time?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's scroll up to the top and see what questions
Sorry, chat. We've been
we
very focused. When it's just James and I, we can just go on and on.
Okay, so the first question we haven't answered is from the Luke Hendricks. They actually thought about continuing it with a new show based from the old one. Would you all watch that, or just so if they had taken Samurai Jack and not continued it, but sort of rebooted it?
I'm sick of reboots in general, so I'd probably say no on that.
I'd watch it, but I don't think I'd give it the praise that I have. I mean, it wouldn't be as strong.
No.
Next question. What do y'all think about what they changed about his daughter? Whose daughter? Whose daughter changed? I think the lack of context.
Yeah, it's like, what could that be from Samurai Jack? Shoot.
Can't bloody remember.
No, me neither. Sorry, chat.
Next one from Chris Finley. What's your favorite guy's your favorite lesser known Fallout Equestria fix? So not the big aside from Arrow.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm quite fond of Fallout Equestria memories. And I'm a big fan. Love the writer of Memories. He also does a lot of our writing for Fallout Equestria behind the scenes. He writes a lot of the stuff. Pretty much everything that Cult Classic says is written by the same guy who wrote Memories.
Well, that's pretty goddamn awesome.
What else is there? Someone mentioning The Walking Dead, how they hate it.
I haven't read too many other side fics because I'm trying not to. I don't want to accidentally steal ideas. I've read about half of Pink Eyes. That was cute. I'm a sucker for adorable, like little girl in a big scary world characters. That's great.
Yeah. Evan Stoker asks, so has Skybot been enjoying that shipping game I got him? Did you someone got you a shipping game?
No, I'm trying to remember what shipping game. I'm guessing you mean like the Shipfic folder. Oh fuck, I'm sorry. I was like, what?
So Go Tigers 72 is Confessions and Terminal Secrets set in the same universe? Yes, they 100% are.
We are doing our best to keep our stuff consistent.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say everything we do is set in the same universe. Like of our, because there's Terminal Secrets, Confessions of Wasteland Pony, and Wasteland Survival Guide are all in the same universe. Behind the scenes is an alternate universe.
Yeah.
That's like more or less your more standard Pony universe. But yes, Terminal Secrets and Confessions are the same. Are in the same universe. Not that we've had any. We haven't actually had any released episodes with crossover content.
No.
But they do exist. One next to the other.
Hint, hint.
Hint. The question was about Logan. What was the thing about his...
I know nothing about the X-23 character except the Logan movie. So I mean, I don't know. I thought she was great.
Yeah, I never read Old Man Logan. I knew of it, but so I mean, I was never really big into the X-Men comics. I haven't really read much of the Marvel comics. Like I liked Miss Marvel, but that was really about it. Go Tigers really trying to pry the possible crossover. I don't know. Would we cross over Terminal Secrets and Confessions? That just doesn't seem like something that the two of us would do.
No, probably not.
No, we can't do that. Unfortunately, we're what would we call it? Confessions of a Terminal Pony Secrets?
That's already basically episode 2. That was my pitch to get me a Terminal Secret story.
Yeah, there we go. The Ghoul Doctor. Can we call the Ghoul Doctor a crossover?
Yeah.
It counts as a symbol.
Chris Finley, I'm glad someone agrees with me on Walking Dead with the show losing its purpose and floundering. Yeah, no, basically, God. I think we agree that, like, season 1 was good, and then every other season is just, like, 1 or 2 good episodes, but the seasons as a whole, meh.
Meh.
Yeah.
So I see we're about to hit 1,300 subscribers. Woo! Yay us! We're like 8 away. That is not bad. We just... I reckon once the next... Confessions of a Wasteland Pony and Terminal Secrets come out, we should see a nice spike there, because I think those will be releasing more or less around the same time like they did before.
Yeah, almost back to back, which is kind of cool that it's happening that way. I never felt so good as when we got those episodes out in January, because that was like the ultimate like establishment of the channel, was finally launching them and really like cementing ourselves as our own thing.
That was January, I think, was our best month.
Holy hell, we released so much crap that month.
Right, because that was in that month we did 2 episodes of the podcast. We did our first real episode for
Wasteland Survival Guide.
For Wasteland Survival Guide, I think that was the clean water. We did the heartwarming, even the intro chapters back in December, but those was kind of like warm-up bonus chapters. So January's been our biggest month. Technically, October's our biggest month.
That's true.
Because that was when we were found. Samuel Pierce says, Luke Cage, anyone? I quite like Luke Cage. I don't know if you saw that, Sky.
I haven't, no.
It's all right. It runs the same problem as all of the other Marvel Netflix shows. It just doesn't. All the Marvel Netflix shows should be 7 episodes long, not 13 or 12.
Yeah, they need to condense a lot. Like for me, and I'm hoping someone makes this at some point. I just want to watch a supercut of the Punisher storyline from Daredevil 2. Like, I really don't care about Elektra, and I stopped caring about Daredevil. It was just too plotting. All the best Daredevil stuff was Punisher, and I can't wait for that show, because that's going to be great.
Right? That's why I'm so excited that the Defenders series is only 7 episodes long.
Yes.
And also because all 4 of these characters, we've now officially had origin stories for all 4 characters. So at no point, that's like the worst part in starting a new hero story, is you've got to deal with the point where they're like, should I be a hero? Should I help people? What should I do? No, now like that shit's over with. Now it's a case of, all right, cool, we're heroes. Yes, we're going to have trouble working together, and yes, that will be a major plot point, and yes, we will have lots of bitchy, moany shit that the audience will not want to deal with, but they have to deal with anyway. But at the very least, there's no origin story stuff, and we can just have 7 episodes of far more hyper-condensed problem. Like, Luke Cage, I feel... I love... What I kind of feel they should have done was they should have swapped the villains for Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. Jessica Jones should have had Cottonmouth and the gangs. That would have been a much better fit for her. And Luke Cage should have had Kilgrave, because the idea of a villain who controls you, I can't, against a man who is physically unbreakable. I can't break your body, but I can break your mind. That would have been a much stronger. But anyway, the new Condrix. With all the magic and MLP, will there be any more very dark magic used, like the one like from the Duchess?
Yeah. No, I know that's very popular, which is why I'm working on a confession story, or a piece of one of the stories that will be very, very Duchess-esque. I was trying to be careful because I don't want to just like copy myself. I want it to feel original enough, which is one reason why I kicked out that little Come to Me story. That is technically within the Confessions universe, and I thought, that would be a nice little Lovecraftian horror just to keep people's whistles wet until the next major thing like that.
I mean, now that I think about it, we haven't really touched too much on the magical aspects that exist in our universes. You've done it a bit with the Duchess horror, but if I think back to it, it's most Terminal Secrets has been everyone solved their problems through common sense and ingenuity. Confessions has been very tech based.
Yeah, I've been trying to sort of give it a Full Metal Alchemist approach where it's sort of like magic technology, and that's what I'm like trying to get across. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get more like spelly, magic-y stuff in there too to really make it feel good.
Well, I mean, like the spell magic text sort of stuff you write that very comfortably. I always give you shit for writing so much tech stuff, being an engineer.
Yes,
but it does fall into your wheelhouse very well, write what you know.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you look at frickin' Stephen King, like 90% of his characters are frickin' writers. It's like, come on now.
Right.
It's a little ridiculous for him, but it's like, at least I try to write different characters. Writers and teachers, because he was a professor for like 15 years, scumbag.
Exactly, so...
And it's in fucking Maine. Everything's in Maine.
Yes.
Because he's the only writer from Maine.
Oh, God. By the way, is it possible that we might see another B-movie style Confessions story like The Duchess in some future? What do you mean by B-movie?
I like that. It's like monster. I'm guessing he means like sort of monster pop. Which, yeah, that could be argued that that's what that was. Again, I have a Duchess-esque thing in the oven. The bun is in the oven, so we'll see how well it rises. I'm working on giving more weight to it right now. So,
I bet if the relationship if there becomes a relationship between the Duchess and DJ Pony, there's gonna be a bun in her oven.
Oh, Bachinga Bow Wow!
What? I ship those two so hard. It's not even funny. They are. I've got to imagine that they are boning on the side, and it's got to be the worst thing for Rose Petal because she can't see his face. Like he wears a paper bag the entire way through, and he's drawn like a fake pony face on it or something.
Kinky.
And the entire face that he's drawn is in silhouette as well, because...
yeah, it's just like role-playing. It's just like costumes, but all the time.
Yeah. I love the reference to the... I love the reference to the Duchess episode in the Celebrations episode of Wasteland Survival Guide.
See, yeah, that was just a little wink and a nod for crossing things over. I want to make sure everyone knows this.
As soon as Dopey was mentioning going to Ten Pony Tower for the Winter Ball, like, oh yeah, this is. I remember them mentioning this in Confessions. I hope Sky actually, fucking references this. If he doesn't reference his own writing in this scenario, I'm going to be very angry, and then...
It's all part of the plan. I got a grand scheme for all of it. I really do. Like, my outline document's like 40 pages now. It's just endless bullet points and lists and timelines, and I really am trying to put effort into this stupid shit. Yay, I'm glad someone liked the engineer. Yay.
I quite enjoyed it.
I know it was very big, but I was hoping there was enough cool stuff in there that people would be satiated. Because it was important for kicking off like the majority of the overarching story.
Samuel Pierce says he meant more adventure-esque stories, like more Indiana Jones meets Scooby-Doo.
Oh, yeah, we'll, because I know some of the episodes, they have, like, pieces of adventure stories, like, there's a bit of that in, Ranger and Engineer. Yes, all the stories have, bits like that. I'm not sure what level it'll be, like, self-contained like that, but we'll see going forward. And also, we have other little offshoots too. Like I have a sort of one-off thing that is Confessions realm, but it's just not in that same format. But yeah, well, hopefully you guys enjoy that.
Samuel Pierce, if you enjoy that sort of stuff, you'll love Untypical, because it's almost exclusively stuff like that.
There you go.
Yeah, it's very different to our normal content. It's not, Terminal Secrets both Terminal Secrets and Confessions are both still mostly very much constricted to their microphones. Confessions, you're hearing the monologues, and Terminal Secrets, everything you hear is still heard from, most of what you hear is still heard from audio recordings. It's not so much that you're an omniscient audience member, which does restrict a little bit of what we can write.
The framing device is important, and it's and it gets referenced more than you might realize. At least I'm trying to, in Confessions, to really make sure that it's well served for having the framing device in the first place.
Framing devices are important, but Untypical, I chose to abandon that concept. There's no that framing device of how you're hearing everything is gone. It's played out more like a TV show.
Yeah. God mode.
Yeah, God mode. The audience is just sort of omniscient. The Lucondrix. Will we see any voodoo or hoodoo from the zebras?
Zebras,
striped, the ziggers.
My ziggers!
I don't know. Have you got any of that? Have you got anything like that planned out? I mean, I know you're not really touching much with zebras.
There's actually quite a few zebras in the next episode, but and not directly, but there's a bit of zebra, fun going on in the next episode. So hopefully people will enjoy that.
There's nothing really much on my side, despite the fact that I bitch all the time about MLP not using zebras.
Yeah, you are the zebra.
I don't. There are no zebras in Terminal Secrets. There's no plan for them there, unfortunately. We go into Minotaurs and Centaurs in episode 6, but no zebras. It's like my own damn fault. I'm bitching about a problem that I have.
Self-hatred.
Any Fallout MLP cookbook? I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh, maybe he's meaning Wasteland Survival Guide. Yeah, no, we have a section of kind of food-related chapters that I do want to do. It's in the docket for sure. I remember on Facebook someone referenced making your own alcohol in the Wasteland, and I thought, yeah, that's something I could read up on. That'd be fun. Because a lot of this, too, is just me studying it and being like, how would I actually teach someone to do this?
Wasteland Survival Guide can be really weird and tricky to write. I tried to sit down and do a chapter on making knots, and it was the worst thing in the world, because trying to describe how you tie a knot is awful. And since I don't really know how to tie knots myself, it gets even harder. So I'm trying to understand what the websites and the books are telling me, trying to replicate it myself, and then trying to write it into the chapter. So the chapter as it stands, which I don't know if I'll even submit it to Sky for Needle for recording. At the moment, you've got Derpy channeling my frustration. Oh God, I hate this. I hate knots so much. I mean, I know I'm normally a really happy, cheerful person, and I know this is important, but knots are the worst thing in the world, damn it.
I remember, I think I suggested just having a line like, okay, forget knots. This is how you find super glue.
You need super glue and duct tape, okay? That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Oh yes, the Fallout 1 and 2 manuals do have recipes in them, and
do they really?
They've included. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look that up then. That could be fun.
And they've included They've included it in the new printing of the Fallout Equestria books. There's a little sheet with a random recipe on it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've seen a few people up about it.
I'm gonna have to go mine the Wikipedia again and get more ideas, because that's another thing I do for Confessions is I try to draw on Fallout universe ideas that K-Cat didn't touch on in the original, and try to make something original out of that.
there's a lot of stuff that you didn't touch on because the Fallout universe is gigantic. I love Fallout so much.
Obviously.
Obviously, I'd love to next year to go and do something, another a Fallout Equestria story, like maybe towards the end of 2018, towards 2018's ass end, with something that is full black comedy like the original Fallouts.
That'd be pretty sweet.
With very little hint of seriousness, just fucking with the audience in the weirdest ways.
That'd be great.
But that's a challenge for another time. I've already got way too much shit to do as it is.
Exactly. My ultimate end game is I'm gonna get frickin' Confessions finished. If it takes hell or high water, if I have to do all the voices at the end, I'm going to finish Confessions. I'm going to wrap the storyline.
Yes, I would be very excited to hear the ending of Confessions. I mean, you've been working on it for years now.
Holy shit.
At the very least, Terminal Secrets is going to come to an end this year. It is goddamn. Terminal Secrets is so close to being done. We are almost there. A few more months, and then the finale comes out.
Yeah, and in my moving time, I'll also get scripting of episode 5 done too. That should be good.
Yeah, because we'll produce episode 5 and episode 6 simultaneously. And then we're going to release them almost back to back. So, to everyone listening to this, September, October-ish. We might drop them in October on our anniversary. Just make a weekend of it. Like, hey guys, on the day of our anniversary, which is the 30th, we'll do. Maybe we'll do Terminal Secrets episode 5, and then on the 31st of October, which is World Audio Drama Day, we can release the Terminal Secrets series finale. Maybe that's a good way to do it.
That'd be a good way of breaking things up too, because then Confession 7 will probably be like a Christmas time thing. We'll see what happens. We do, have to move forward with that too. Once I'm done with that script, we got to do casting and stuff. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to be able to cast characters for... It's nice to be able to cast characters for Terminal Secrets, now having to be able to use our audience. Though, of course, our audience wasn't... You motherfuckers listening to this, you weren't terribly helpful, because everyone just went and auditioned for Backstrap. One character. Our inbox is just full of them, and we have now cast someone as Backstrap, but it was just like... I'm sorry. Nope.
Yeah.
Not one audition came in for the main character. Role.
That's funny. See, I try to do it like any character of my gender of that thing, attack helicopter. And that's usually my approach when I'm auditioning for a series. But no, some people, it's all or nothing. This guy.
Yep.
More questions. What is the weirdest food you've ever eaten? You probably have a better one than me.
Oh, why is that? Is that because I live in Africa? Is that what you're saying,
yes.
Skybold? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. How many people have you eaten, James? How much long pork?
Long pig. I eat long pig all the day. It's not even weird for me. Human beings are the tastiest motherfuckers in the world. It was just yummy.
My prion disease says it tastes so yummy.
I've eaten so many humans, I'd go so far as to say that steak is the weirdest food I've ever eaten.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you, Sky? What's the weirdest food you've ever eaten?
There's actually this neat restaurant down in San Diego called Crazy Burger, and they specialize in importing a bunch of weird meats for just crazy burgers for you to try. And so me and some friends were down there on a trip, and we had an alligator burger, a buffalo burger, and a wild boar burger. So probably the alligator falls under the weirdest. And then I had a Mexican friend in high school who had some cow brains. They have some kind of name for it, but it's basically cow brain jerky, and I tried to bite of that.
It was kind of weird. Second question, what is a bad habit that you know you need to break? Oh, there are so many of those.
Yeah, I know, right? It's easier saying what habits are good.
To be completely honest, the bad habit that I know I need to break is the fact that I'm an unfocused motherfucker. As you guys will notice if you look at the channel, it's cool. In fact, yeah, everyone listening to this, do yourself a favor, go into the EAST Corp Productions channel and go ask yourself a question and go count. How many projects is James Vermont currently running for EAST Corp?
Jesus Christ.
Count them on your fingers. That's my bad habit that I need to break. I can't work on 1 or 2 projects at a time. I need to work on a bunch of projects at a time. And it doesn't mean necessarily, and it's great for you guys because it's not like I will work 10 hours a day on the projects, and it's like, okay, cool, I've got a new project, so I'll just take time away from the other projects. No, I'll just take time out of my sleep schedule or out of my work schedule. So all the projects come out as if I'd had full attention on them. But on my side, it just means I sleep less. I need to... it's the worst possible habit for me.
Yeah, I'd probably say... funny answer is I don't put enough time into ponies, and so I could have more parody songs and more crap on the EAST Corp channel. But real answer is probably sleep. Like, I get migraines if I don't sleep right, and so if I have a night under 4 hours, the next day and a half I'm worthless. And so if I could force myself to get to bed at better times, I'd probably have a better life overall, but, ponies come first.
I'm usually quite fine with a lack of sleep. Give me 4 hours is fine for me. I can function pretty solidly at 4 hours. Especially if I have to wake up early, that's pretty fine. Next episode of Wasteland Survival Guide is cannibalism confirmed.
That would be hilarious, actually.
I expect everyone's going to laugh their fucking asses off at the title of the next episode of Wasteland Survival Guide.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be great.
Because that was one of our audition scripts. So it's called Amoria's Loins.
Vagina.
I'll let you guys figure out what the fuck that's going to be about. Because keeping in mind that Amoria is our version of Octavia, it's one of the few things we kept from Stable Tech.
Vagina.
That's, but weirdly enough, with Wasteland Survival Guide, there was one chapter I really, really wanted to do, but I haven't decided whether or not to try a draft. And I want to do a chapter on puberty.
So wait. No, the real story here is then you sitting by yourself researching horse puberty and how that works.
Right? Because I would actually have to do that.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to go into like estrus and the fact that horses don't have like periods like mammal or like primates do. It's it's generally cleaner than that.
I might, like we very often do. I might take the horse stuff and I might meld it with the human stuff as well.
Cross titties.
Oh God! But I want to do it just because it would be a pure comedy episode.
Oh yeah.
Of Ditzy trying to explain this, because the thing is that it is a legitimate survival thing.
Well, what'd be even better is her trying to do the cult section and like doing her best to not like embarrass herself to death.
Because it's legitimate survival. Kids have to be taught about the birds and the bees.
They want to sting you and give you diseases.
Not the birds and the bees. They have to be taught about the Pegasi and the Breezies.
Oh my gosh! What if we had like some kind of like Fallouty, wastelandy like STD, like mutation? Like you don't want to get like 3-dick disease. That just makes things more complicated.
3-dick disease. I knew a guy who had 3-dick disease. He had 3 wives. And he disappointed all of them. like, you don't understand this. Just because he had 3 dicks, but he had the exact same. He still had the exact same amount of stamina, divided between all 3 dicks.
Yeah, and the problem is, it's like you sacrifice length. So instead of 1 8-inch, you have 3 2.5-inch.
Oh God,
It's terrible.
So we had this one friend. I had a few friends at school. This one chick in my group, she gets into an argument with another dude, and she says, "Dude, just so you know, I have a bigger dick than you." And she thinks this is really fucking funny. And then so his response is he sends her a dick pic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he sent her a dick pic, and then now she is a really, really attractive woman, so she gets dick pics a lot. And her policy with dick pics is that she automatically messages it to everyone she knows.
Nice.
So I have been sent multiple dick pics from multiple guys forwarded by her. So she starts showing this dick pic around from this one friend of ours. It's like, guys, look, he has an average white guy dick.
So wait, does she dox them or dicks them, where she says who's who?
Yeah, she says exactly who it is. Well, I mean, we don't know. We usually don't know them. This is the first time that it's been someone that we all know. But yeah, she fucking like, hey guys, this is his dick. This is his dick.
Nice.
And we're also like, and the best part was we're sitting in the middle of a writing lecture, and me and my one mate are looking at this picture. We're like, is that a semi? No, he's definitely soft. No, that's definitely a semi. No, it would be more up. And like, that was what we were focusing on. We're trying to decide how hard this guy is.
At the time.
At the time. Is it a grower or a shower?
Well, it's like, why would you send a dick pic at only half mast? That sounds stupid to me.
That's what we were saying. Why would you send it if it was only at a semi?
Oh my gosh.
So this was one of the motherfucker, that was fun.
That's more important than school, probably.
Oh yeah.
School is stupid.
Oh god. Okay, let's take a look in the title will be this. Go Tiger says Wasteland Survival Guide. Why my body is changing. Oh my fucking god. That sounds about right.
That's fantastic.
Oh god. I can imagine Derpy doing that. Yeah, Derpy trying to do the male parts like Sky said would just be so goddamn funny.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. I've never gotten a really good look at one. You know, it was always dark. And, with ponies, they have to sort of come in from behind, so you can't really look around.
Bow-chicka-bow-wow.
Oh!
No, that sounds like that could
This
be
is
very
the most
fun
important
writing.
thing, guys. The most important fucking rule. Learn the difference between a butthole and a vagina.
Improve your
If
aim.
another one of you... If I have to keep shouting out, wrong hole, again, every single time I get laid, I'm gonna turn feral. I swear to fucking Christ.
As a goal, too, that would bring in a whole nother dimension to everything.
Oh my god. She would have to do a section on ghoul puberty.
It's like, I don't know, what if you get ghoulified at 10? Are you just frozen and you're out of luck?
Oh god, that would suck.
Yeah.
Imagine, you're gonna start noting that your semen is now green.
Yeah. That's, that they start up a freaking lava lamp business.
Oh god.
So this is our Samurai Jack episode to remind everybody. In case you didn't know, this is I've had this Samurai Jack picture up the entire time, which is completely non sequitur.
Well, it feels appropriate to me because Samurai Jack for the last 9 weeks, Samurai Jack has been or like let's say like the last 4 or so weeks, Samurai Jack has been hijacking the podcast. So it's funny that we decided to have a specifically Samurai Jack podcast that has now been hijacked by ponies.
It really is the nature of the universe. Perfect.
It is we will never be focused on a topic. We are permanently fucked.
Yes. Just like Ashi. Bammo.
Just like, hey! Well, oh god, that's the worst thing. Those two didn't even get to fuck.
I know, and that's part of my reasoning of it can't end like this. They have to have a good end. You do not just save, like, he's fighting all these women that are just basically naked, except for a layer of ash, and then you're like, okay, I killed your 6 sisters, and now you love me, and now it's like, you gotta take advantage of that.
Oh god. The, what was it? The
Ashi.
Oh god, I was very surprised to find out. I don't know why I was surprised to find out that this was Tara Strong, and she's basically in everything. She's like the Nolan North of female voice actors.
It's getting a little ridiculous. It's like, I'm glad for them, but at the same time, I kind of feel bad for all the people that are like, I could do that voice. Like, you know, to be honest, with like Phil LaMarr and Samurai Jack, anyone could have been the Samurai Jack voice. It's not like a very complicated kind of voice. And it's like, if we knew someone else from the beginning, how much would we know the difference? You know, I don't know.
Oh, speaking of which, how fantastic was it hearing Aku doing his own impression of Jack's voice?
That was hilarious. That was probably my favorite line from him that whole episode.
Yeah, just Aku trying to mimic Jack. That was just beautiful.
What has brought about this reunion?
Try to just be as overly formal as possible, and he nailed it.
That was really good.
Oh god. What? Wasteland, in the comments section, Wasteland Survival Guide, cautions of glowing semen. Oh.
Yeah, it's like you get the radiation counter starts ticking. It's like, okay, it's this is where being a little bit faster on the go could actually be beneficial. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna you know what always bugs me is that there's never a record of the live chat after a live stream ends.
I do feel bad about that. That's why I try to read the questions outright before we answer them.
Yeah, but it's like you get to you know, it's like 180 views, 1 comment.
Yeah,
no comments.
I know. It's like we actually had a lot of comments.
Yeah, no. I mean, most of our viewer comments come from during the fucking podcast. So, I wonder what would happen if a male ghoul parts fell off.
Like a spider. Well, theoretically, you could just reattach it, right? And then ghoul magic, baby.
Right? Well, I love that joke from Archer. Did you hear about the male prostitute with syphilis? Business kinda dropped off.
Oh my gosh.
Ouch.
Yeah, that'll happen.
All right. Unless there is anything else, I do think this is a good time to bring the podcast to an end. We're around about 2 hours. It is 10 o'clock, freezing cold, and I need to go to bed.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think we covered everything that we set out to do with this podcast.
This thumbnail is still driving me fucking crazy.
Oh my gosh!
I love this. I love the thumbnail you cooked up with this. It is beautiful.
Oh yeah, isn't that great? I was very proud of that. Okay.
Well, I really hope we didn't piss off any Needle Stitch fans because we used her in the thumbnail.
I know. I had to have an excuse to have the Ashi, so I just threw her in there. Oh, that's fine. She can get mad at us next week.
Oh, God. All right. Right. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
We're gonna shut down now. You can expect some cool content from us coming fairly soon. Next episode of Anthem Logs is coming next week, and we should have a Wasteland Survivor guide when Skybolt,
Soon as possible.
does his thing with that.
As soon as possible.
Mm.
And also, if you like Samurai Jack, go and listen to my Samurai Jack Everybody Loves Somebody cover song and share that with a bunch of people, please.
That's like one of your best covers. It suits your voice very well.
I'm glad it worked out. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.